This year on Littleton Common, we will travel around the world. And this month, we are on our way to Japan. The land of the rising sun is ruled by Emperor Naruto and has a population of 127.7 million people. It has the world's oldest population, with a quarter of its people over 65. But one good thing about aging in Japan is that the salaries rise with the workers' age. Today, my guest is Sandra Casale. And Sandra is a member of the Littleton Country Gardeners and recently became manager of the Friends Thrift Shop. With all of this, she is taking time to share her recent trip to Japan with us. So, Sandra, how long was the flight?
Actual air miles was 18.
Oh.
18 air miles.
That is a long, long way, but I'm sure it was worth it.
Air hours, 18 hours air time. Yes.
Well, with that many hours in difference, how did you adjust to the change?
It was difficult. On the way over, first of all, on the way over, we flew into Washington, D.C., and it was a direct flight from there. So it was only an hour and a half to get to Washington, D.C., but then 16 and a half hours to get to Japan. So you get a little restless by the end. And we got there, and the difference was we were ahead of time by 13 hours back home.
Wow.
So we got there, it seemed like the middle of the night, but it was actually the middle of the afternoon.
Huh.
And they suggest you stay up, you don't take a nap, so you can adjust. Well, it took us maybe 4 days or 4 nights to adjust to sleeping.
Wow.
And it was tough calling home, trying to regulate the time with what was going on back home.
Right.
One day I called my husband. I thought he was on his way off to go golfing. He was actually on his way home from dinner. So I was like off a day. Yeah, so it was a little funny. Jet lag on the way back was a little more difficult. It took us maybe 5 days to get used to the time frame, the time change. But it was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
it was a great trip.
What made you decide to go to Japan?
My daughter, who's now 20, loves all things Japanese since probably the 4th grade. She started loving anime, and she started drawing. And so she always loved everything, and she took the language for a year before she went off to college. So I thought it would be a wonderful mother-daughter trip.
Great.
So that's why I decided on Japan.
Huh. Well, okay, so now you're in Japan.
Yes.
And did you use yen or did you use dollars?
We used yen. We had some dollars converted at AAA before we headed out. And it took $40,000 for $40,000. It cost like $350. So I just rounded it up to $400. And that's how I figured out the money when I was in Japan. I just moved the monies over like 2 decimal points. Like 4,000 yen was like around $40. Oh. So it was a lot easier converting it that way to round it up and then just move the decimal point twice to the left and you knew about how much you were spending.
Huh.
They love cash. In Japan, of course, who doesn't love cash? But they like you to use cash as much as possible. Some places don't even take credit cards.
And now some places don't even take American Express.
Oh, I didn't try that because I read that online.
Yeah.
I read that they really like cash, and only the big hotels and restaurants take credit cards.
Ah.
So I was prepared.
Yeah.
So we went with ample cash. In fact, we even came home with cash, which they don't advise you to do because then you have to pay to convert it again, convert it back to dollars, and they don't take change. So you end up having change forever unless you plan on going back to Japan.
Yeah.
But I did come back with some money, which surprised me.
Huh.
I didn't need as much money as it was suggested online.
Huh.
And I think that's because we went with a tour, and almost everything was included.
Yeah.
So there were probably of the 10 days we went, 17 meals were included.
Wow.
And we stayed in the country. We stayed in both, we stayed in Tokyo, we stayed in Kyoto, and in between we stayed in several little towns. So we changed hotel like 4 times. but we had 17 of the meals included in activities. But everything was included, the price. So that's why I think we came home with money, which is good to know.
So Sandra, you were telling me that they were very, very polite there, and I read that the Japanese have a code of etiquette, and Japan governs the expectation of social behavior. It's very important there, so they have these cultural values to make Japanese etiquette substantially different from Western and other countries.
They were extremely polite in Japan, and they bow a lot. Whenever you leave a restaurant, I told you there were a lot of activities included. Whenever we went to a class and we left the class, heading back to the bus, the teachers would all come out to the sidewalk and wait till we drove away before they went back into the building. They were extremely polite. I've never seen so many polite people in my life. It was really nice. It was very nice.
It does sound nice, because in a lot of cases, I hate to say this, but we've lost a lot of things from the old days that was etiquette. So what about the food?
The food was really nice. A lot of fish, though. You have to really like fish. If you're going to Japan, you eat a lot of fish. You eat a lot of tofu. But in the morning, every morning, our breakfast was included. And what they had at the hotels were half Western food and half Japanese food. So you had a choice. And our choice was usually to mix the two.
Right.
So it was very nice. But they do eat a lot of fish, both raw fish and grilled fish.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, and don't they use like a lot of rice?
Not as much rice as you would think. They do use a lot of rice, like when they're making the sushi, but they don't eat an extraordinary amount. They eat a lot of vegetables. They eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand that what about noodles? Do they have
noodles?
A lot of noodles?
Not an extreme amount of noodles. Not like you'd expect. I know, I was expecting a lot of rice and a lot of noodles too, and there really wasn't.
Yeah.
More vegetables, like I said.
Yeah, I think
fish.
I read that red meat is new there.
Well, they have special red meat. I don't know what they do to their cows, but it's the most tender meat you've ever had. Yeah, the narrow beef is like incredible. Really incredible.
Wow. So then you must have enjoyed the food.
Yes.
It sounds like so far you've been enjoying yourself anyway.
Yes. And the food, we did. We both enjoyed the food a lot. Yeah. It was great.
Did you know that they have a Happy Monday system, and they move all the national holidays to Monday so that they have a long weekend?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we've kind of been working on that, don't you think?
Yes,
I think some of
we've
our
been
holidays are
trying that,
like that.
yes.
Yeah. And they have a Respect for the Aged Day.
Yes.
Which is very nice. That's the third Monday
That
of
should
every
be
month.
every day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And what else they had? I'm trying to think of what else they did that I kind of checked things out because I wanted to make sure that people knew what you saw, what you did.
Well, we went to a traditional Japanese tea. That was very meditative and very spiritual. That was very nice. And on that same day, we were fitted for kimonos. They dressed us. So that was really nice, and we got photos. But it's an elaborate dress with the padding on the back and the bow and the sashes. And yeah, it takes somebody else. You can't dress yourself. You need an assistant to get dressed. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. We also took a calligraphy class.
I was going to ask you about that. You said something about classes, and I thought, what kind of classes?
Calligraphy. They do a lot of gold leaf in Japan, so we decorated these beta boxes, which is like a little lunch box with the gold leaf. We did that. We did some stenciling another day. We had a cooking class. That was a lot of fun. We cooked chicken teriyaki and we made sushi. lopsided sushi, I might add. But it was delicious. It came out really good, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we had a lot of activities built into our tour, which is why we went with this tour. Normally, we went in June. We went June 10th to the 21st. And the reason we went in June is because it was all booked up in May. May's a better month to go to Japan because June and July are deemed the rainy season.
Okay.
So I was really nervous about the weather. But we really lucked out. We had 1 day of rain, which is great. We had one day that there was a threat of rain when we were going to the morning market, which is their version of the farmer's market. We had a threat of rain that day, so we geared up for it, but it didn't end up raining. The next day, it was a drenching rain. And we were outside walking around, but you saw like 30 umbrellas walking around. That was really fun. Anyways, I got drenched. I thought I had a waterproof jacket, but it wasn't so waterproof that day. But that's the reason I preferred to go in May, and I ended up in June. And like I said, we lucked out with the weather, so that was really good. Yeah.
So it is called the place of the rising sun.
Yes.
So there must have been a lot of sun anyway.
Oh, we had a lot of sun.
And is it a beautiful sunrise? I mean,
yeah, it is a beautiful sunrise. And there's flowers everywhere in public places. When you go to the shrines, there's bonsai arrangements outdoors at the shrine, all the shrines, and the public gardening is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And I didn't mention, there's no litter in Japan. They are so clean for themselves and for their small planet. It's incredible. You don't see litter anywhere. And you also don't see trash receptacles.
That's what I was just going to say.
People take their trash with them. It's unbelievable. Something we probably should do, right?
Really, yeah, not throw it down someplace.
It's extremely clean and beautiful, the country is.
Yeah, that's good. It sounds like a good place to try to go.
Yeah. I encourage anyone to go to Japan. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. What about children? Now, you wouldn't know, but because you were on tour, but I wonder if they go to, do they wear uniforms to school, you know?
We didn't really see any children in our travels.
No.
No, hardly saw any children at all. So I didn't see any in uniform.
Of course, they might have been in school or something.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because it was early June. School hadn't let out yet.
That's right, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it sounds like, you know.
I didn't tell you about the ryokan, our favorite part of the trip. That's a Japanese inn.
Okay.
And when we were in Kyoto, we had the option to stay over at a ryokan for the night. And it was wonderful. We get to the ryokan. They took our luggage to the rooms. They set up the table for us. They gave us something to put on, like these pajamas, like a kimono type pajama. And then they served us dinner. It was like a 7-course meal. They brought it to us. Then they came back later on and got the room ready for bedtime. They put the mats on the floor. You sleep on the floor. But it's a generous mattress. It's a pad, but it's probably around 4 inches thick.
Okay.
And it was very comfortable. They came back in the morning, served us breakfast, the raw and grilled fish. It was a traditional dinner. It was a traditional breakfast when we stayed at the inn. And the other thing that they have in Japan that's really popular is they have public bath houses. And in the bath houses, you don't go into the bath to cleanse yourself. You cleanse yourself before you go into the bath. So they have like little shower areas where you cleanse yourself, wash your hair, whatever. Then you go into the bath just to relax. We didn't go to a public bathhouse. What we did was I called it my private public bath, and our tour guide laughed at me. But what we had was a bathroom with a wooden bathtub, a little shower area. So it was like the same idea as a public bathhouse to use privately. It was really, really relaxing. It was great. In their gardens, we sat outside to have tea in the morning. In all their gardens, they have it at sitting level, so you can enjoy it. So you're sitting at the table, and the garden's at the same level you are, right outside your window.
Oh,
And that's how they design their gardens.
that's beautiful. That's something
Yeah.
you can really enjoy.
Really.
Yeah, so tell me something about the people on the tour. Were there, you're making me think about elderly and younger.
Oh, no. There were all ages. There were some college kids there. There were a couple teenagers with their family. They were from California. There was a person from New Zealand. There was a man from Australia. There was a couple from Boston. There was a couple from Dorchester. I mean, they were from all over the country. And, Canada. There were a couple people from Canada as well, all ages, too, probably retired. Retired people was probably about a third of the people were maybe retired. And the rest were like from 14 up until maybe 60 years old.
Yeah, well, the reason I asked is because of the mats. Because, we know so many people who, even younger, who say, I can't get down there, I'm never going to get up.
That was optional, though. At the hotels, you had regular beds.
Oh.
This was at the Japanese Inn,
Yeah.
which was an optional tour. Jenny and I went, and two other women went on that one night
Oh, okay.
Japanese Inn stay, and no one else on our tour did it. It was just the four of us.
Oh, well, you did a
Yes.
good thing. I think it
Yeah.
was great that you tried it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really added a lot to the trip.
Yeah, well, you were with the people,
Exactly.
so to speak.
Exactly.
And the culture, even
Yes.
more so.
Yes.
But, no, it just made me think of people saying, I can't get down, I can't get up, and I thought, oh my goodness, what do you do if you're, in that predicament?
One of the
But
first.
you know what, I bet you the Japanese help each other there.
Oh, they must.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's etiquette.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. One of the first hotels we stayed at, we had dinner with the group, and we used the pajamas that they provided at the hotel, and we had like a pajama party. We went to dinner with our kimono pajamas on.
Cute.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a traditional meal that night.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Oh, yeah, so you were dressed for it.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, I think it sounds great, and then you had a great time. I'm so glad you could share it with us because, we have some very interesting places to take you this year, and so we want you to make sure your dial, I'll go back a few thousand years, your dial is on the community television station, and you can travel with us.